Joining us now is the former Speaker of the House and co-host, along with his wife Callista, of the documentary 9 Days That Changed the World. Of course, it's Newt Gingrich. Good morning to you, Mr. Speaker.
Good morning.
I know you've been very vocal about your position on the mosque at Ground Zero. What do you make now of the president getting involved, wading into the very controversial waters, and differing on what he said originally from Friday night?
Well, it was very unnecessary. He shouldn't have said what he said Friday night, and then he shouldn't have waffled on Saturday. It's kind of embarrassing. But let me draw a distinction. This is not about the legal right to build a community center and mosque near Ground Zero. It's about whether or not it's the right thing to do, which is a distinction the president himself began to kind of make on Saturday. The Congress could, for example, create a national battlefield memorial area, much as we have at Gettysburg and elsewhere around it. We could create a memorial, much as we have at Pearl Harbor. This, after all, is the largest loss of American life, I think, since the Civil War in any one event at Ground Zero in New York City. And so I think there are a lot of ways to stop the mosque if people decide, as the American people have, that it's profoundly wrong to have a mosque that close to Ground Zero.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we've alluded to this here for folks who have not seen it. Friday night, the president said they have the right to build it there, which they certainly do. Then Saturday, it sounded like he was kind of walking it back or clarifying things. Here's exactly what he talked about regarding the wisdom of building it there.
My intention was to simply let people know what I thought, which was that in this country, we treat everybody equally in accordance with the law. Regardless of race, regardless of religion. I was not commenting, and I will not comment on the wisdom decision to put a mosque there. I was commenting very specifically on the right that people have that dates back to our founding. That's what our country is about. And I think it's very important that, as difficult as some of these issues are, we stay focused on who we are as a people and what our values are all about.
Mr. Speaker, was that a clarification, or was that a flip-flop?
No, I think that's a sign. He got a lot of very angry phone calls from Democratic members of the House and Senate who he taken a position that was not defendable, and that was going to make their reelection even harder. Look, this is not about the right. First of all, there are over 100 mosques in New York City, so people have the right to free religion if they want it. I've said it openly, if they want to build this mosque in the South Bronx, I'm all for it. Governor Patterson has offered them state land, which interestingly, I don't know of any state which has offered a church or synagogue free land, but he's tried to solve the problem by getting them away from the site. The folks who want to build this mosque, who are really radical Islamists who want to triumphantly prove that they can build a mosque right next to a place where 3,000 Americans were killed by radical Islamists, those folks don't have any interest in reaching out to the community. They're trying to make a case about supremacy. That's why they won't go anywhere else. That's why they won't accept any other offer. And I think we ought to be honest about the fact that we have a right, and this happens all the time in America. Nazis don't have the right to put up a sign next to the Holocaust Museum in Washington. We would never accept the Japanese putting up a site next to Pearl Harbor. There's no reason for us to accept a mosque next to the World Trade Center.
But does this on a political, I want to talk about the politics of President Obama getting involved in it, because now you have Ed Rollins, a Republican strategist, coming out and saying that this will be what President Obama is remembered for, and saying it's a major mistake. You have Ari Fleischer, who used to be the spokesperson for President Bush, saying the same thing. What do you think politically now?
Well, maybe it was a clever effort on the president's part to avoid talking about 9.5% unemployment, the worst unemployment rate. Really, in many ways, more jobs have died under him than any president since Herbert Hoover. So maybe this was all a clever effort to keep all of us talking about something other than how bad his record is on unemployment and the economy. But I think actually this is a very, very radical president whose underlying instincts are those of a faculty member at a very radical university. And he felt Friday night like he ought to be who he really is. He found out by Saturday morning that it was regarded by most of his fellow Democrats as devastating. And so now he's tried to walk it back and pretend he didn't say what he did.
Coming up.